I call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Council of Borough of River Edge, November 25th, 2024, 7 p.m. regular meeting. I ask for a moment of reflective silent prayer for all of our service members, Coast Guard, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and even Space Force who serve our country day in and day out, silently doing what needs to be done to keep us safe.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Statement of compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meeting Act by notification on January 11th, 2024 of this location, date, and time to the town news, the record, and by posting of the same on the municipal bulletin board and the borough website, filing notice of the same with the municipal clerk. Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kaufman. Here. Council President Montesson Cohen is absent with prior notice. Councilwoman Kinsella. Here. Councilwoman Larry. Here. Councilman Benson.
Here.
Councilman Glass.
Here.
Mayor Tucker.
Here. Okay, first up is a presentation. Jim, state your name for the record and for the public and your office so that the public understands what you're doing and why.
Sure. My name is James Anzavino. I'm the tax assessor for the Borough of River Edge.
James, if you like, if that would make you comfortable.
Well, let me just start off there. I just want to, I was asked to, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come before the mayor and council to explain a little bit about our reassessment program and what it entails and how it's going to be done and where we are at this current moment. And I'll try and be as brief as I can. I do have a tendency, unfortunately, to get a little long-winded, so please forgive me. What we're basically doing is we were ordered by the Division of Taxation through the Bergen County Board of Taxation to conduct a reassessment.
And the key word is ordered.
Ordered.
And in fact, we were given a break for a period of time due to COVID, correct?
We were ordered in 2019,
Yeah,
so we were able to push, I won't say push this off, but do it at a time that was most advantageous for the borough to do.
Mhm.
So we kind of got to the certain point when they said, okay, either you're gonna authorize to do this or we're gonna do it for you. So that's kind of the decision that the mayor and council was sort of challenged with. So, and here's just a sample of our introduction letter. I believe everybody got this already. But it just kind of outlines what we were doing. It's a 6-year program. And the first year, which is 2025, everybody in town is going to be reassessed. Every property owner, commercial and residential. Each year after that, 20% of the homes will be reassessed. Now, when I say reassessed, that means to market value, full inspections. This is the first time we did full inspections since 2004. So the inspections have not been done, other than annual annual inspections for permits and things along those lines. The company is Appraisal Systems. They've done basically they're pretty much the premier company in northern New Jersey. We went out for quotes and they were the only company that quoted on the job. I'm very comfortable. I work with them in all my other towns. They're located right in Fairlawn. They do a wonderful job. You can pick up the phone, and I'm sure John knows this too, and you can call them at 10 o'clock at night. Rick Del Garcio, the president, will always get back to you.
Nice.
So where we are at the current moment is every property has been inspected. Everybody's has been an attempt to be inspected. Let me just correct that. Now, recently, we just sent out a letter about a week and a half ago to those properties we did not get into. Now, remember, our goal is to make sure we get into every home so we can get the correct assessment. We don't want somebody coming to us and saying, geez, you charged me for 3 bathrooms, I have 1 bathroom. Well, you never let us in, so how are we supposed to know? If we don't get into a house, according to the state standards, we have to assess it as what the most highest use that could be in that building. So if you have a house, let's say you have a colonial home, you have 1 bathroom, no finished basement. How are we supposed to know? We're gonna assume you got an updated kitchen, 2.5 bathrooms, and a finished basement. And the person comes back and says, oh my God, well, you're right, you should complain. But if we don't get in, there's no way for us to know. Now, one nice thing about ASI, they'll do video conferences too. So that you'll go with your phone or your iPad, you know, whatever your technology is, and they will actually let you do the inspection virtually. So now that's the first phase. So we're doing pretty good. We're up to about 80% of that. We're gonna pick up another 10%. Then they're gonna send out their letters, right? Once they send out the letters, that's gonna be in January. Why in January? By the way, this goes on for the 2025 tax year. So for 2025, these will be the new assessments. I've been doing this a long time, ever since I think Moses opened up the river there. That's kind of what I've been doing this. And I learned between Thanksgiving and January 1st, nobody really looks at your mail. They look at it because the second letter they send out is, this is the value that we determined, and you have a week to 10 days to question it with the inspectors. If you get the letter and you kind of put it on the side and you don't read it, there's not a lot we can do. So, but when you get that second letter, now that's the next thing that's gonna be coming up. It's gonna say your value is $500,000. Please call and schedule an appointment with the appraisal company. And they'll schedule a hearing, probably wherever we could obtain a room for them to be, and they'll have charts. They'll have all sorts of their data.
Jim, just to interrupt for a second, and for the public's benefit,
Yes.
this hearing is if you disagree with the evaluation.
Yes,
So it's not that everyone needs to go to a hearing, it's just those residents who disagree with the assessed value.
correct. Now, what they could do, they have a fabulous website, and it'll be on all their letters. We encourage everybody at least to have them send you the copy of the property record card, and they have a description of it, and that explains everything. So they're very accommodating public relations wise. And if you're still unhappy, you can have an individual appointment. If you're still not satisfied, you have the right to appeal to the Bergen County Tax Board by May 1st. So the first thing you're gonna get is the letter of information. And again, and the other thing is, let's say the mayor says, geez, I think my value's a little high. They'll go over your card with you. If they never got into your house, they'll schedule an appointment at that time to go through it. They might even do it that day or that night, because they want to get the job done and correct. And that's that portion of the property. Now, that's the portion of the inspections. The letter that they send you in January, it says, okay, here's your new value. Here's the projected tax rate before the increase in value property. Before the increase in your budget. So you typically go up a little less than $100. The county goes up around that. And the schools and the regional schools are a little bit more. That's the brunt of your increase in your taxes. That's prior to that. So they take the 24 spending, compare it to the 25 values, and they come up with a rate. So it kind of works. Now, with that being said, we won't know the final rate until July. The question came about was, how do we calculate the values, and how is it
Was my question,
determined?
yes.
I had a little bird that kind of tipped me off. All the residential homes are priced out according to the state manual. The New Jersey Real Property Appraisers Manual is what every home in New Jersey is priced out to be. And it goes over 1 family, 2-story, colonial, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. Ironically, who thinks we assess by the number of bedrooms? We don't. We assess by the square feet of livable space. Now, square feet of heated area is worth more than square feet of non-heated area. So let's say you have a deck, it's priced out at, 200 square foot deck, it's priced out at one value. Decks, patios, are assessed the same, but now you put a roof over it, now it's an open porch. So it's a little more. Now you like the open porch, but you want to have a little other room because it gets cold in the winter. So you enclose it. Well, now it's a little more. Now the next thing you do is you add heat to it. Well, now it's living space. So it's basically always priced out according to the market. At the end of the day, we want to come up with the market value. How do we get to the market value? So we take all the homes the inspectors are coming around with. They have the little tablets. And they basically reconstruct the house. They measure the exterior. They look on the interior. Once they do that, it gets put in the file. It's all gets saved. And they take it off of depreciation. The depreciation schedule is pretty easy. There's excellent condition, which is basically no, very good, good, average. There's one little trick now that kind of hurt us, and 3 years ago, you don't have to get permits for bathrooms or kitchen renovations anymore. So we used to have much more added assessments. An added assessment is if you put a deck on, you put a new house on. I would go out, I would inspect it. People are always smiling because they're happy to see somebody knocking on their door. Then they realize it's me. And I just ruined somebody else's day, you know? And, you know, but we go and we do what's called an added assessment. When that's put on, that gets billed in November and it gets retroactive back to the month they completed it. So let's say you put up a deck. I'm gonna come by in the summer because I don't like the cold. And you were done in February. In November, you're gonna get a bill retroactive back to March for the remainder of the bill. Now, the last time the inspections were done here was in 2005. Almost 20 years ago. During that 20 years ago, we did a reassessment, which was kind of like a computerized update in 2012. Still a long time ago. But that did not have inspections.
Oh,
Right? So now what's happened since then? Well, properties might have gone up or came down a little. When I say came down, they just didn't go up as average as everybody else. Let's say the average increase in assessments is 10%. Mathematically, all that happens is the tax rate goes down 10%. But let's say the north end goes up 12%, the south end goes up 8%. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, just as an example. Even though it's an average of increase of 10%, the north end that went up 12%, they're gonna have a little bit of an increase in taxes. The south end is gonna have a little bit of a reduction because it didn't go up as much. Historically and typically, and look, I've done probably 15, 20 reassessments in my time. 20% of the people go down, 20% go up. The other 60% remain about the same. Prior to the increase in the budgets to be raised by taxation for 25. Now, why do they go up? That's always like something I kind of wondered. Well, it could be a neighborhood change. It could be they were incorrectly assessed before. Or it could be through no fault of their own, they did work on their home. Ever since that law came out, again, 3 to 5 years ago, if somebody did their kitchens and bathrooms, does that increase the value of your house? Yes. So you're gonna see, they're gonna get a little bit of a bump up that they never had before, strictly because of the value of the home went up. The homes are actually priced out. We have 3 approaches. So remember I said before we rebuild the homes? We actually rebuild the homes. And when we put that aside, we take all the sales of existing properties. So a house sells for $100,000. Very simple. Wouldn't you love to buy a house now for $100,000? Let's say the building itself is worth $75,000. That means what's left is the land. That's worth $25,000. So now everybody's got a 75 by 100-foot lot. So we assume that lot's worth $25,000. It's called the land residual technique. And that's what the land is, how we put in a synopsis way, that's what we put the land on with the bill and add it to the building. So therefore it equals $100,000. Land's worth 25, building's worth 75, it's sold for 100, it all makes sense. Where sometimes people get a little confused, now our ratio of sale versus assessment will be for the next 6 years, 100%. And what does that mean? As of October 1, what your house is assessed at, you should be able to sell it for. If I'm going too long or too short, just cut me off or, you know.
You just wrap it up and then we'll turn to
Sure.
questions.
So that's whenever somebody puts a new house up or a major addition, we go back to that year of the first reassessment. So if somebody builds a house now and it sells for $1.2 million, which is kind of like the common price, they may only be assessed at $800,000 because our ratio of sale versus assessment is 65, 66%. So that kind of equates it. What's the ratio of sale versus assessment? They take all the sales, they compare it to the assessments. So if the sales are selling 10% more than the market, our ratio is 90%. So if the sales are selling for 40% more than the market, ours are at 60%. Sometimes with some of the newer homes and the newer additions, it's hard to, you can't bring them up to the sale price. Because if we're all assessed at 60%, if my house is worth 100,000, but my assessment's only 60, I can't tell somebody whose house is $1 million that their house should be assessed at $1 million. That's illegal in the state of New Jersey. It's called welcome homeowner or welcome neighbor, right, John? Something like that. As you can tell, John and I have been doing this way too long. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of where we're at, but I want you all to take my cell phone. I put on my business cards. You can call me. I'm better with texting than I am with email, just so everybody knows.
I think everybody is.
My cell is 201 906 2469. Most important thing I could say is when the letters go out, it's going to be able to give a shock to neighbors, particularly the seniors. I actually spoke before the seniors at St. Peter's. It's very important. Don't answer any questions. Have them call me. Or you can call me and I'll call them back. Because a lot of times people, they think that if they call me, I'm going to yell at them or something, which I may do anyway. Only kidding.
Not true.
I just want them to get the answer because the one thing I don't want them to do is go to the neighbors and say, and the neighbors start giving advice. The one thing that you're going to see too is you might have those two homes identical to each other. This guy took an appeal back in 2010. So they're kind of here. This guy never did, but they got the same home. So they both go up. But this guy's starting from a lower base. So when they go up, let's say 10%, this guy's going up 20%. What do you think is going to happen to his taxes? They're going to go up more. This guy's going to say to you or me, I was always paying less than my neighbor. Now I'm paying more. Or now I'm paying the same. Well, what kind of house you got? Cape. What does he have? A Cape. What year was it built? 1950. What years was your built? 1950. You do any upgrades? No. You? No. All the same. So it should be valued the same. The biggest thing we can do to help people too is if they're seniors, the Senior Freeze program. The income limits this year for 2020, the program compares your taxes from 22 to 23, and 24 you get back the increase. It's 150,000 for 22, 163,000 for 23. This program is going back to Governor Whitman.
Jim, explain to the public what 150,000 is referring to.
Okay, I'm sorry. 150,000 is the gross income that the person makes. Now it could be a senior citizen or somebody disabled. So now, let's say
Is
somebody,
that single or married?
whatever it is.
Combined.
Yeah, combined. It does not count the children's income. So if it's just mom and dad on a deed, that's it. If it's a family income, they get 50% of that. So if I own the property, my wife and I own a house with my daughter, which she's trying to take away from us, just so you know, it'll be a 50% reduction. But what the program's great is my mom passed away in February. Last year, she was in a program since, when she was 96, she was in a program since Governor Whitman. She would get back $3,800. If she was able this year, it'd be like 39 and change. You factor that with the anchor program, which is somewhere between 15 and 18, it's almost $5,000, a little over $5,000 that a person could get. But what happens is the first year you apply for the freeze, you got to be over 65, lived in town, lived in New Jersey for 10 years, in River Edge for 3 years. If your taxes are say $10,000.
And you said that it was 150,000 maximum gross income,
Yes.
but it's going up to 163?
Well, you have to qualify for both years. So in 2022, you turned 65 and your income was less than 150,000 and your taxes were 10,000. Then you compare it to 2023, 23, and your income is less than 163,000. And your taxes go from 10 to 10,200. In 2024, you get $200 back. 5 years from now, the taxes are 11,000. You get check back for $1,000.
But the best thing we can recommend to the public and to the council as a whole is that if someone is interested in doing that, they should contact you.
Absolutely.
And the best thing we can recommend to the public and to the council as a whole is that if anyone should feel that the assessment is unfair or improper, they should contact you
Me or the assessment company.
or the assessment code. Great. Questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
The freeze, when does that actually, when you apply for it? Or,
Great question. When you apply for it, you have to be 67 really to apply.
Okay.
Because it goes back 2 years. It goes back to your 65th birthday
Okay.
compared to 66.
And that's for both spouses have to be over the
No, just
67?
one.
just one?
Just one.
Okay.
Okay.
And if your property is in like life estates, you can still apply. So,
Jim, I'm sorry.
No,
another
no,
question About that, I thought they passed something where seniors would be getting back like half their taxes.
that's something coming due in 2026. I don't like to project what it is, because quite honestly, I haven't seen that much about it, so I rather know I'd rather speak about what I know of,
Okay,
not what I think is going to happen.
Is that bill been passed?
Yeah,
The
the state
bill
of
was-
New Jersey.
State of New Jersey, but the details have not been passed or the
I
regulations.
just think they're working out the regulations, how to,
Yeah, they adopted it I think, last
Yeah.
year, but it goes into effect in 26, so they're working out. the details.
So our seniors have three programs, the Anchor program, the Freeze program, and soon the Stay in New Jersey program.
yes.
And all three of them, they should feel free to contact you for. Great.
Absolutely.
Another question.
I had a question. Can you just, I didn't totally understand the $1 million home, not getting assessed at a
Okay,
million.
so let's say a house sells for a brand new house.
Right,
And it sells for $1 million.
Mhm.
We can't assess it at $1 million because our ratio of sale to assessment
Oh.
is at 66%.
so you have to do 66%.
We actually go back to what the sales were in 2011, like our formulas that I work in on my system, I could show you all later, it only allows me to put in a house that was built, like if there's a new house, I have to go back to 2011, or if I put anything after that, it'll show no value.
Okay,
So it just goes so this way, every house is assessed equally. So you may have, I'll go back to the deck theory too. If the deck now would add $10,000, back then it added $2,000, it'll show $2,000.
So the assessment is not gonna be anywhere near what the house would sell for.
Back, now it will be,
Oh, will be?
after the
Next year.
reassessment, yes.
Okay.
okay,
So when I do my annual jaunt around the town in the summer, any new constructions should come very close to the sale prices.
okay.
The assessment date is October 1st, so a month ago is the date we value property for next year. So,
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
yes, thank you. I had a question about the neighborhood concept. Well, how did that, is River Edge divided up into neighborhoods?
you're gonna be divided up into a few different neighborhoods,
Okay.
apartments, business, one-family homes, demographics, not demographics, we got a few two families, not many. Location, next to the river, Kindercomack Road will be a little bit of different type of, area,
Okay,
but it's all according to the sales. So properties like use Wayne Avenue is kind of a symmetrical, really, the town's all pretty symmetrical. There'll be different neighborhoods, like maybe like Kindercomack Road. If you take a house on Kindercomack Road comparing to the house on Wayne, well, the one on Wayne's gonna sell for a little more if it's the identical house. So what's that affected by? The land value. So not so much by the building value. The building's the building. A 2,000 square foot colonial is gonna be assessed the same. Again, the same year, the same amenities as a house, no matter where it is in town, but the land value is gonna be different.
David?
Thanks, Mayor. So I think of this as like a zero sum game, right? We're all gonna collectively be paying the same amount in taxes based on what our budget is. All that we're doing is redistributing who pays how much. So we've had all kinds of new construction and people adding onto their houses and upgrades. So those people, probably like you said, are gonna be in that upper, they're gonna see that 20% increase. Right? And the people on the lower end.
No, he didn't say 20%, he said 20% of the homes.
Right.
So they'd be in the 20% who saw an increase.
But
Only reason I stopped you is because we're being taped. I just wanna make sure the
Okay,
public.
yeah,
we've already assessed them. You know, now, I may have missed a few, I'm not saying I'm perfect. But for the most part, when we get a building permit, I go out and I make sure I follow up on the home. I think the 20%'s gonna be people that had appeals. They new and additional constructions that we may not be familiar with. And any changes in the market in different neighborhoods, just like
so
you're saying.
anyway, my question was, is there gonna be transparency? Across, so anyone in the borough can see what the change in their neighbor's taxes are, or how their neighbor was reassessed, or how someone across town was
That's a
reassessed.
great question, and maybe we could get a link to Appraisal Systems website. Because on their website, they're gonna have all pictures of all the homes that sold. They're gonna list every sale for the past 2 years. They're gonna list every assessment, the old assessment, the new assessment. On the new homes, they're gonna show a picture of the house. It's gonna show how many, bathrooms, bedrooms, just like a little description. And also the sales. So it gives, and that's what you see on that website is the actual data that we use. It's gonna have the map. We're gonna give it. There's a map of the town. And it'll show exactly different areas and different neighborhoods, which will also be on the website.
So because this is public record, it has to be released, but as of right now, you can go on our borough website. And look up any house by name or address or street and find out exactly what the person is paying, what they paid previously, whether they paid on time. All of that is public record and available for any resident right now. I go to it often because when it's time to pay my taxes, I, want to make sure that I'm getting everything in on the right time, and I'm just a nut about it. It's math.
So will that then be updated?
Yes.
Okay, let's differentiate. What
Mhm.
we're doing is the assessments.
Mhm.
So that's gonna be on our system and you can get access to the county system also.
Yeah.
And the appraisal systems that's gonna be the one system. The other system is the tax collector system. So in August, when your budget's adopted, when the school budget's adopted and the county budget's adopted, that's all gonna be uploaded into the tax collector system, Mrs. Maddie's. And that will print out for you it'll show online everybody's taxes, everybody's updated taxes.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Most people like myself, when we think of assessments, we think of Zillow. Is there any relationship between what I see on Zillow and versus what I'm gonna be getting in the mail?
Pictures of the home.
Do you tend to under assess those sites?
I never really looked at them because they've never been like a database that we could rely on.
Okay,
I will tell you, again, since my mother's passing, we were looking to sell the house and I went on Zillow and it had it as a 1-family 50 by 100. It's a 2-family 60 by 100. So the accuracy I was a little skeptical of. I guess it's looking for us, it's kind of like now South Hackensack is 3 or 4 sales a year, so it's kind of hard to get a market read. But I guess it's good just for the average person to get an idea. I don't think it's anything I would rely on. It's not really admissible in court, it's
Yeah.
The other thing we do is when they go to a hearing, now again, this is next late summer. We don't beat anybody up. We kind of like Alan Spinola is your tax appeal attorney. And we've been working together here in Oradell for many years. We kind of want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. We say, look, we understand what you're saying. We can't do anything for you. So that's why you're here. File the appeal. Nobody's going to rush you. It's your day in court. And, now if they come in and they say, my taxes are too high, that's when they're going to cut them off. They have to, in order to prove their assessment is incorrect, you can't say, my neighbor's house is assessed at this, you have to come in with sales. And we actually provide all the sales on the website. It's I wish they kept that part up so you could see, because it's a phenomenal job that they do.
Any other questions?
I just have one side.
All right, we'll let that be the last one and then we'll move on.
Can you explain just real quickly, what's the difference between what they're
For
gonna
this?
do in
No.
the first
Oh, yes.
year? And what's gonna happen in
Oh.
subsequent 5 years?
That's a great question. So this, what the first year is everybody gets a physical inspection. Right? So the first year, everybody's got to be inspected once. The law statute says everybody else, in addition to that, for the next 5 years, 20% of the home needs physical inspections. But 100% of the values will change. So, and what we do with the 20%, like, we go to this neighborhood, that neighborhood, we go all over the town to sporadically get that 20%. Me being a, I don't know, how can I say this? Not always wanting to conform. I could say, okay, this is great. We'll do 100% inspections now. 6 years later, we'll do another 100% inspections. They won't let us do that.
No, so in other words, every home you will request a physical exam for the public's benefit, physical examination of each home twice within the 6 years. Everyone's being requested this year, and then for the next 5 years, 20% at random, 20%.
Yes, but everybody's value will be new each year. So even though let's say you're gonna be assessed in that 20%, everybody on the council's homes will be updated based on the market conditions.
Yeah, so that it remains fair and
So-
it's not just hitting the people who are letting them in.
And by the way, you're right, it's a zero sum
Yeah,
game.
right.
Whatever money
So it
you,
has to be adjusted across the board. If you adjust one thing, something else has to change.
So just for the public's benefit, the borough is not going to make any extra money on this. The budget is the budget is the budget. So whether your house goes up or down, whether it's new construction or not, and not an extra penny goes to the borough once it strikes its budget. Its budget is struck. It is distributed, the cost of maintaining municipal government is fairly distributed according to the assessment value. But if your home goes up, it doesn't mean the borough made any money on it.
correct.
All right, great. Let's
May
move.
I ask one question? For
Well,
people, I've
okay.
heard this. What happens to those individuals who refuse to give an inspection on their home?
Well,
He already said.
You did?
Yes, he did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
They get
missed
the
it.
highest possible assessment.
Got it, I missed it, okay. I just wanted to public quickly. That was-
All right. Jim, we're gonna move on and we'll see you back for the closed session.
you're right, yes.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
All right, could I have motion and second to open the public on any item on the agenda?
So, second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We see one person virtually and no one in person.
So if you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll allow you to speak. Does not look like it.
Could I have a motion and second to close to the public?
Oh, wait,
Wait,
sorry. she-
Claire did. Go ahead,
All
Claire.
right, all right.
Claire, you need to say your full name and address unless you are a member of a police department household or a justice department household, in which case you just need to say your full name.
Just unmute. You can speak now. You just need to unmute. Claire, if you just want to unmute,
Claire, you can also text if you want.
right in the chat box if you can't unmute.
Claire, there's gonna be a second opportunity to ask a question. I think you're having some technical difficulties. Hopefully you can figure that out and get back to us. Claire, we're gonna close the public for right now, but we will open again in about 4 or 5 minutes. All in favor of closing the public, please, could I have motion and second to close to the public?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. First reading, a motion that the following ordinances be introduced and passed on the first reading and setting December 9th, 2024 at 7 PM or soon thereafter, as the matter can be heard as the date and time, and the River Edge Library as the place, Zoom as the virtual platform for the hearing on said ordinance. Ordinance 24-25, bond ordinance to authorize phase one of the replacement of sanitary sewers at Kindercamack Road from Reservoir Avenue to Rutgers Place in and by and for the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $188,000 to pay the cost thereof and to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Could I have a motion and second to move ordinance 24-25?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Ms. Apatella, would you please give us, the public rather, an understanding of what we hope to achieve in this?
Yes, this is to appropriate funding. We did receive a grant under the Community Development Block Grant Program. That is a federally funded program that would reimburse up to $123,000. They only reimburse construction. The sum of 188, the balance is for the soft costs of engineering and traffic control. And the reason why we are doing this now instead of our regular budget season is because the federal government changed the deadline in which the projects have to be completed. Instead of December 31st, it has to be, the construction must be completed by June 30th. So because of that, that is why we need to adopt the bond ordinance now. And once the funding becomes available after their estoppel period, our borough engineer can work on the design and we could go out to bid early next year.
All right, is there any question, comment, or debate from the council?
I have a quick question. So, Road, that's not a borough road, but the sewer under the road is?
Yes, this is something, we went back and forth with the county.
Okay.
It starts at Kindercamack Road from Reservoir to Rutgers. We will do as much as the award will get us with 123,000 until we complete the census tract, and we only have one tract in town. So that's why it says phase one, and then phase two will go a little further
But
until
that's
we're
not a
done.
borough road, right?
Kindercamack, no, that is a county road,
But we own the sewer,
yes.
so we have to coordinate with the county to repair the road, or we're responsible for repairing the road as well?
That, that is part of the construction. We are responsible to repair the road, once we
Thank you.
do the underground infrastructure.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, because this is a first reading, we're gonna do it by acclamation. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Hearing none, it is so moved. Could I have a motion and second to move, oh, first of all, is there any member of council who'd like to ask a question or hold out for a separate vote? Any of the resolutions 24-336 through 24-344? Okay, could I have a motion and second to move 24-336 through 24-344?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Okay, any opposed, any abstention? It is unanimous. Could I have Councilwoman Kaufman as Finance Chair, please move Resolution 24-345, payment of the bills.
At a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on November 25th, 2024. Be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge approve the following expenditures. Current fund, $1,625,541.36. General Capital Fund, $70,788.59. Grant Fund, $1,548. Trust Other, $1,245. Developers Escrow, $1,922.50. Recreation Trust, $3,575.35. So moved.
Could I have a member of the Budget Committee second it?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. This is not debatable. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? It is unanimous. Is there any new business tonight? Is there any old business tonight? Okay, Claire, we're gonna ask you to try to
Chat it.
chat it again. So we're going to hopefully get you in. So could I have a motion and second to open to the public on any item, on anything at all?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there is no one physically with us in the library, public members. We do have professionals with us. Claire, do you want to try again?
If you can't unmute, I would just recommend putting it in the chat.
Claire, we're gonna give you a minute or so. Let's see if you are still interested in asking a question or making a comment. So you have two options, unmute or hit the chat and leave a message. We'll just be a little bit negative here. Okay, Claire, that's been a minute. We'll give you another 15 or 20 seconds, see if maybe you've changed your mind. All right, Claire, if you feel at some later date you did want to have to ask a question, feel free to call Borough Hall, ask for the deputy clerk. She will get your question to whoever it needs to be, and we will definitely get back to you. Could I have a motion second to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any member of council wish to offer comments?
I just have one comment. Mayor.
Sure.
I just want to remind the public that the annual ornament decorating contest for kids is open until Monday, December 2nd. Hopefully we have a lot of entries, and our annual holiday lighting will be on Saturday, December 7th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Memorial Park.
Excellent. Anyone else? I'm going to offer a little information. Our council president is not with us. I believe she's the liaison to the Shade Tree Advisory Committee. They will have an upcoming meeting. And at the upcoming meeting, some of the things they'll say is that within 3 weeks, all stumps will be removed townwide. We've currently budgeted to remove 68 stumps to the ground. They will be conducted by Down Tree Service. Arbor Day will begin as an item for them. Tree trimming was suspended due to leaf pickup. Emergency issues are going to be done. Also, 125 trees were planted in the south end of town, Talon and South. Trees filled in town-wide for residents who made requests. So a lot of good things have been happening with our Shade Tree Advisory Committee, new plantings, removal of stumps, Arbor Day planning, and we are very proud of them and grateful for their work. Any other member of council wishes to offer any comments? All right, then, could I have a motion and second from the council, from Councilwoman Kaufman, a second from Councilwoman Kinsella, to move resolution 24-346, resolution to go into closed session, attorney client privilege NJSA 10:4-12B8, affordable housing updates and requirements.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. We will not be coming back into public session to enact any business, so we will not be returning. Could I have a motion second to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. We are adjourned.